ध्यायामि चिन्मयानन्दं गुरुदेवं महामतिं प्रेमपूर्णं क्रियाशीलं तदा लोकहिते रतं कृपालुं सुन्दराकारं समर्थं सत्यदर्शिनं वाचा तत्त्वप्रकाशिन्या शोकमोहविनाशिनम् ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. We call meditation dhyana. Dhyana is contemplation, is drawing all our mental energy to one point of focus. Dhyana is sustained thinking. Interestingly enough, the verbal root dhyai, dhyayati, which in its noun form becomes dhyana, is also valid when it is used in the context of contemplating on pleasures of the world. In the very well-known two stanzas in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 62 and 63, which many commentators call the steps of a man's fall, not rise but fall, the first word is dhyayato. Dhyayato vishayan pumsah sangastesu upajayate sangat sanjayate kamah kamat krodho vidhayate क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः स्मृति भ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. The two shlokas are very powerful, which warn us that it is through meditation that you will fall and fall and fall to lowest levels of existence. Oh my God. Can meditation lead us to such a terrible fall? Hold on. Meditation over there is meditation on I, me, and my, what I may enjoy, how I will indulge, how I will become popular, famous, this, that. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa. If a man or a lady continuously harbors thoughts on sense pleasures and other forms of egoistic gratification, then unbearable desire and uncontrollable anger and then delusion, loss of memory, and so on and so forth, and the man or the woman falls. That is what happens when we continuously think of sense objects. So the word dhyayato, coming from the verbal root dhyai, is valid over there. But instead of vishayan, suppose you say dhyayato vasudevam, Lord Vishnu, Vasudeva. You meditate upon him. Lord dhyayato, Vishvesham, Shankaram, Shivam, Mahadevam. Then that continuous thinking on God takes us upward and upward and upward. It leads us to liberation. So this is a popular interpretation, popular explanation. Everybody can relate to it. But now we want to take a look at what meditation is in the light of Upanishads. In one of the minor Upanishads, namely Kaivalya Upanishad, a student approaches the Supreme Brahma, the Creator, and requests him, kindly teach me Brahma Vidya, the highest wisdom of that supreme reality called Brahman. And that Chaturmukha Brahma says to that student, Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yoga Davaihi. Develop greater faith in the noble scriptures, which are based on the foundation of great human values, and then point out the liberating truth. And bhakti, have devotion. In other words, have a pure mind, the hallmarks of purity being Shraddha and Bhakti. And then the third factor Brahma mentions is Dhyana Yoga. Do not just gather some inputs from here and there and say, oh, I know now everything. Please, having heard a lecture, having read a very inspiring book, take the essence of the lecture, of the book, and be clear about it, then stay focused on that thought. Stay with uplifting thoughts, uplifting understanding. That is dhyana. Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yoga Adavaihi. In all the Upanishads, directly or indirectly, there is mention of meditation. In Mundaka Upanishad, it is said, you must meditate on Om. Meditate on Omkara. Shankaracharya, the great commentator, hastens to add, Omkara alambanaha santaha yatokta kalpanaya dhyayata. Om iti dhyayata is the word or the sentence in the Upanishad proper, and Bhashyakara calls or describes, explains Omkara alambanaha santaha. Taking Om as an excellent support. The same Mundaka Upanishad compares Omkara with a wonderful bow, Pranavo Dhanuhu, Sharohi Atma, Brahma Tallakshya Muchyate, Apramattena Vedhavyam, Sharavattanmayo Bhavet is a powerful and beautiful metaphor. Use the bow of Omkara. Do Om Upasana. Recite a good number of times. Om, morning, evening, and at other times too. Use Omkara as the bow, and as your mind gets more and more purified, that mind will be the arrow to be placed upon the bow. And what is our target? The target is no other than Brahma. Brahma tat lakshya muchyate, and be alert. The greatest wealth in human life is not money or power or position or a big house or a swimming pool or about the bank balance, so many things. The greatest asset, the greatest possession that you and I may have, I am speaking after a lot of years of thinking on these topics, is the ability to stay aware, attentive, to stay alert, not to slip and fall for some temptation here, some provocation there, not to lose the higher understanding which you and I gain. We gain glimpses of higher spiritual understanding here and there. We must not slip. To slip is pramada. And that mantra says, Apramattena Vedavyam. You and I have to be completely steering clear of any pramada, any error, any lack of attention. We must be very thoughtful and attentive. Then in small and big situations, we will be rising and rising, and all that is possible by meditation assisted by repetition of Om. These days, some other mantras also can be very handy. Kathopanishad says meditation is nothing but dissolving the gross in the subtle. In a mantra, first chapter, third valli and 13th mantra, Lord Yama says to Nachiketa, Yachedvang manasi pradnaha, dissolve your walk. Walk means directly the organ of speech. But what Yama means is the five organs of karma and the five organs of jnana, karmendriya and jnanendriya. We tend to be very attached and identified with them. We tend to be highly attached to our body. So the body and senses, Yama says, dissolve them in mind. What is meant by dissolving? Shift your identification from the gross sense objects, sense organs, organs of action, etc., to a contemplative mind. And that contemplative mind should be dissolved. Rise again. You are capable of it. You have the capacity for it. Rise to an appreciation of a total mind. The scriptures guide you in that. And dissolve that also in Shanta Atmani. Deep inside you, as though waiting to be discovered, there is this serene, true nature of yours. Your true nature, deep within, is ever free, blissful. Realize it. Taittiriya Upanishad says the truth of your existence to which you have made yourself alien. You have alienated yourself from your own true home. That truth, Brahmananda Valli of Taittiriya Upanishad says, Raso Vaisaha. It is of the nature of happiness. It is of the nature of Ananda. December 12 to 14, the well-known Indica group is organizing a 4-day yoga shibira. I am one of the speakers there, and I am asked to speak on happiness. And that well-conceived 4 or 3.5 days program in Mysuru Yoga Utsava is an exciting event. I encourage one and all to look up and, if possible, participate. Ananda. And Upanishads say our true nature is Ananda. It is said we are like musk deer. Musk deer smells something very fragrant, then goes on searching everywhere. Where is this perfume? Where is this wonderful smell coming from? Without realizing that it is from its own body. It's coming from itself actually, but it's looking outside. Likewise, you and I have to meditate upon that true nature. And if you ask, how are we to meditate? Is it not mere imagination? This seems to be a mere kalpana. That you will say when you have not studied Vedanta from competent teachers. If you patiently study Vedanta with very good teachers, Swami Chidananda, Swami Dayananda, and living among the living teachers of today, Swami Paramarthananda of Chennai, he is one of the top Vedanta teachers. You want to be clear about Upanishadic teachings? There's audio recordings are available, hundreds, if not thousands. Listen to Swami Paramarthananda's lectures. Then you will become very clear. You will be convinced. And then all you need to do is to train this restless, unsteady mind to not indulge and engage in all these things of the world, except what is your duty. There are lots of things which may be called none of our business, but we get into them. We get into those things which are none of our business with great excitement. So, who was killed by Israel? Who was killed by Hamas? Who is likely to win now in the American elections? And we read long articles. Somebody's forecast, and that day meditation is gone through the windows. That day spiritual study is gone with the winds. So what we need to do is, as Kathopanishad advises us, tadyachet shanta atmani. Spend some time in trying to know what after all is our true nature, about which the illustrious spiritual teachers, the acharyas, have spoken, and gaining certain clarity, meditate upon it. I'm going to draw a few more quotes from Upanishads, but for a quick digression, in a relevant manner, in Bhagavad Gita, in the 13th chapter, Sri Krishna says, Dhyanen atmani pashyanti kechid atmanam atmana anye sankhena yogena karma yogena chapare. So the first expression is Dhyanena atmani pashyanti, through meditation. 13th chapter, 24th shloka. And Adi Shankara writes an explanation. What under the sun is dhyana here? Dhyanam nama shabdadibhyo vishayebhyah shrotradini karanani manasi upasamhritya manascha pratyak chetaitari upasamhritya ekagrataya yat chintanam tadhyanam. Even an elementary school student should be able to understand this. This is not some rocket science. Spirituality essentially is pretty simple. However, when you have various doubts and you deal with them, some technical aspects arise. Dhyanam nama. Bhashyakara says, dhyana is, you need to withdraw your mind. First of all, you need to withdraw your shrotradini karanani, ears, eyes, etc. Even as you are trying to read Bhagavad Gita, you hear some sound and you find there is a lizard on the wall, and you look at the lizard and watch its movement and start thinking, I don't know why lizards have increased in number in my house. It seems if we keep some peacock feathers here and there, they all vanish. I think I will go to the bazaar now itself. You tend to put the Gita down and go to the bazaar to try to get some peacock feather. Krishna Krishna. See, this is called, first the ears heard the sound, then the eyes saw the lizard, then the legs started walking towards the nearest market to get peacock feathers to drive away, chase away lizards. All right. Shankaracharya says, please, there is a time for doing such things, but don't get distracted at the drop of a hat. A little lizard makes some sound, and you leave Bhagavad Gita study and go towards the market, and with the excuse of getting something to drive away lizards, but in a corner of your mind you want to eat something there and also maybe enjoy some ice cream. What is going on? Restrain your senses, at least from inappropriate, untimely engagement with sense objects. That is what he says, Shabdadibhyah Vishayabhyah Shrotradini Karanani Manasi Upasamhritya. Let them turn inward, and then let the mind also, thanks to the wisdom gained in satsangs, Let the mind also turn inward rather than thinking about what happened last year, rather than thinking about some cinema, some book you read, or some behavior of some people. Because mind is its place. It's the repository of lot of memories. Even if you close your eyes and don't see anything, the mind says, by the way, why did last week your uncle invited everybody else to the party at his home, but did not invite you? Think about it. So the mind gets busy with thinking on what happened, what did not happen. Bhagavan Bhashyakara says the best thing you need to do or you can do is this is not the time for all those things. Let my mind reflect on what is pure consciousness, what is pure awareness. In what sense have the scriptures talked about me as the Sakshi? I am the witnessing consciousness. Witnessing consciousness. Consciousness is a topic of great study around the world now. A Western writer who actually had gone very high in the IT field and he had invented something or made some special software which sold like hotcakes and he had made a lot of money. His name is Michael Singer. And this Michael Singer left everything at the age of 45 or so and studied Vedanta, studied Eastern spiritual wisdom. And he's a very well known figure now. He was interviewed even by Oprah Winfrey in her TV sessions. I once gave a talk on Michael Singer's book under the banner of Meditation and Study Circle, a book review, Michael Singer's The Untethered Soul. Like a horse that is not tied, the horse moves freely. The soul in us can be untethered without being tied anywhere. Our spirit could be free. To enjoy that freedom, you need to know what is pure consciousness. He devotes a whole chapter, if I remember right, third chapter in his wonderful bestseller book, The Untethered Soul, Michael Singer. He covers the third chapter, he is almost devoted to Ramana Maharshi. The teachings of Ramana Maharshi he places before us in the third chapter, with a touch of humor and some philosophical depth and the gift of good English language. And of course, as a result of a lot of contemplation he did, the book is a great book. So it came because witnessing consciousness. So make the mind dwell upon what witnessing consciousness could be. Reflect on that. That is dhyana. ध्यानं नाम शब्दादिभ्य विषयेभ्यः श्रोत्रादीनि करणानि मनसि उपसंहृत्य मनश्च प्रत्यक्चेतैतरे उपसंहृत्य एकाग्रतया यच्चिन्तनं तद्ध्यानम्. A beautiful definition in the commentaries of Adi Shankara and so in the commentary of Ramanuja, Madhvacharya and so on. There are gems of insight. There are gems of divine contemplation. We are blessed to have such a legacy, to have such a heritage. We must draw from those wonderful works. And then we get the samagri. We have the material. On what shall I meditate? My mind goes to ice cream and cinema. If the one says, wait a minute, there is a lot of wonderful samagri which gives you 100 times more happiness than what cinema can give you, what ice cream can give you. Oh dear, reflect on God, reflect on the pure self. Now to go back to Upanishads. In Chandogya Upanishad, 7th chapter, Narada, who is pretty old, comes to a young, enlightened sage, Sanat Kumar, and confesses, I have vast knowledge of so many subjects, and I am highly respected wherever I go. On the earth, emperors get up from their seats and come and touch my feet. In Patala, the kings of Patala come and respect me in the nether worlds. In Swarga also, Devendra, moment he hears that Narada has come to the door of the palace, he comes to the palace entrance itself. Namo Namaha, he says. I enjoy such wonderful treatment, hospitality, everything, but, oh Sanat Kumara, let me confess before you, I do not have peace of mind. I have not crossed Shoka. He confesses and he says, I have heard that someone who knows the pure self, Atmavit, Shokam Tarati. Tarati Shokam Atmavit, I have heard from wise people, learned people. And because I continue to be in Shoka, sorrow, it is clear that I do not know Atma. Teach me Atma. Before giving some really high plateau revelations on what the Shuddha Atma is, which Sanat Kumara would call Bhuma in that chapter. So chapter 7 is called Bhuma Vidya. Bhuma. Bhuma basically means the infinite, boundless, boundaryless. So before that, Sanat Kumara gives 15 upasanas because the mind has to be prepared for receiving the liberating wisdom. And among the 15 upasanas, one upasana is a qualified meditation. That is, you could have upasana. Upasana is a matter of adoring. You could adore physical strength. If you really adore physical strength, you will be very careful about your diet, your exercises, your lifestyle, when you sleep, how much you sleep, etc. And then you gather physical strength as well as other health benefits. All that comes from adoring. You see somebody very fit, and immediately your mind says, I must be as fit, if not better than him. And you work towards it. So, adore balam, adore annam, adore sankalpa, this power of resolving. Adore these and develop yourself in this. It gives 15, and among them the sixth among these 15 is Dhyanam. And here, Bhashyakara Sri Shankaracharya gives a very different definition for Dhyana. Let me read it out. Dhyanam nama Shastrokta Devata Adi Alambaneshu Achalaha Bhinna Jatiyaihi Anantaritaha Pratyaya Santanaha Ekagrata Ityahu. He says here in this context, because it is one of the 15 upasanas, one of the 15 ways by which you make your mind purer and more one-pointed. Swami Chidananda used to say, when our thoughts become less in quantity and higher in quality. You had 1,000 thoughts earlier in a certain period of time. Today you have only 200. But the beauty of it is, though they are only 200, they are of much noble nature. Reduction in quantity and increase in quality is the improvement of the very most important instrument, that is our mind, Antakarana. And Sri Shankaracharya says, this here, it being only one of the 15, the meaning of dhyana is Shastrokta Devata Adi Alambaneshu. Shastra says somewhere, worship Ganesha, and you happen to like Ganesha, go for it. Worship Ganesha. Somebody worships Saraswati. Somebody worships Hanuman. Have an Ishta Devata. Day and night, adore, admire, have thoughts about God. Then that is dhyana. And what makes it dhyana? Achalaha. Make the mind steady, more and more steady. If you really want it, you can do it. Bhinna jatayaihi anantaritaha. Bhinna jataya means dissimilar thoughts. I'm trying to think about Ganesha, and then my mind goes to some video clip I saw where somebody sits on an elephant, and the elephant, which is putting its trunk into a water body, pours water upon this man who is sitting upon its back again and again. So that man gets a wonderful new shower. The shower not coming from a shower head made of metal, the shower coming from the trunk of an elephant. Yesterday, day before, and 2 days before, I have seen this video repeatedly. And I am now trying to meditate on Ganesha. Instead of this Ganesha with an elephant face, I remember that elephant which gives a enviable path to a tourist. Then that is a dissimilar. What has that got to do with Lord Ganesha? You got distracted. But similar thought is, suppose I am meditating upon a wonderful Ganesha temple in Bengaluru. I am at home, but I am thinking of Lord Ganesha. Bengaluru has many Ganesha temples, Basavangudi and so many other places. There are some Dod Basava, Chik Basava, like that. I think there are Dod Ganapati, Chik Ganapati, and what other. So some Visheshana, some adjective. And you are from a certain town called Kundapura. There is near Kundapura, there is one Kumbashi. They also call it Anegudde. There also there is a standing Ganesha. Then not far from there is some Idugunji Ganesha. Then there is some Ganesha in that town. Then there is some Ganesha in North India. So you go on thinking about Lord Ganesha as expressing himself in all grandeur in various places in the country. That is all similar thoughts, no objection. Then it is Sajatiya Vichara. In fact, one of the definitions given for dhyana is Sajatiya Vritti Pravaha. Sajatiya Samana Jatiya. A flow of thoughts of the same kind. Shankaracharya says that is welcome, but Bhinna Jatiya Vicharaihi Anantarita. It should not be interrupted. Antarita means interrupted, intercepted. But Anantarita, not intercepted by dissimilar thoughts. Pratyaya Santanaha. Pratyaya is vichara, thought. So please practice. And to make that practice truly successful, have a little of satsanga. Listen to some good speaker. Read. Today, even YouTube's everywhere, online also. Things are available. If you listen to even 20 minutes of a talk on Gita or Upanishads by Swami Paramarthanandaji, you will feel, wow, how clear he is. And today I understood. And I did not know this topic had such depth. And he seems to be authentic. He is giving a very Shastriya explanation, not something from under his. Some people give an explanation on Ramayana, Mahabharata, Upanishad, everywhere they take liberty. Something from under their hat, as they say. Or in Sanskrit or Kannada, they call it Swakapola Kalpita. Swakapola Kalpita is, some fancy explanation. But very competent teachers who have studied the scriptures, they give interpretations which are as per the Shastras, as per a certain age-old tradition, following which many attained very high levels of evolution and even liberation. Yenaiva yata yatayosya param tameva margam tava nirdishami, says the Guru in Viveka Chudamani. He says to the disciple, I shall now show you the path by which many have walked and reached the desired goal of liberation. Yenaiva yata yatayosya param tameva margam tava nirdishami. So you listen to competent teachers, well-trained teachers who themselves are excellent sadhakas. Then you sit for meditation that same evening or next morning. That you did that satsanga will make a big difference. For you will have a much better start right away. Now from Chandogya, where Dhyanam was interpreted as the flow of the same kind of thoughts, we go to Brahadaranyaka. In the second chapter of Brahadaranyaka, fourth Brahmana, Brahmana means section, fifth mantra. Yajnavalkya says to his beloved Maitreyi wife, the older wife, there is a Katyayani who is the younger wife, but this immortal conversation took place between Yajnavalkya and the older wife, Maitreyi. He says, in this life, in this world, people see happiness in a wife, sees happiness in a husband, husband sees happiness in wife, both of them see happiness in their children. Some see happiness in cars, some see happiness in buying houses, some see happiness in becoming MP, member of parliament, some see happiness in becoming PM, prime minister. This is my spicing it up. Yadnavalkya did not talk about MP or PM, but he talks about how money or wife or husband or son or daughter or wealth, and he gives a list of some 12 or 15 factors which people fall in love with. They very much like some people love cars, some people love some other gadgets, equipment. Yajnavalkya says they think there is sukha, but actually sukha, seeking which there is preeti. We love such things or such people in whom we see the prospect of happiness. I see the prospect of sukha in someone and then I love him, I love her. So preeti and sukha go together. Shankaracharya says, expanding on Yajnavalkya's words, Gauni anyatra preeti. This love for cars or houses, son or daughter, or for the love for preeti, for many things, it's all gauni, secondary. It's very superficial. Even those who love their wives or husbands, children or cars, houses, actually scratch the surface. They are actually all the time in love with their own within. Atmani peva mukhya priti. Maitreyi listens with astonishment. Wow, this is an unbelievable insight. Does it mean that happiness truly comes from our true nature? Atma. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati is the punchline there. And Yajnavalkya doesn't stop there. He says, there is something deep inside you and you think that happiness came from outside, but actually, to give a simple example, the man who loves cars buys one of the best, latest models and expensive models of car and is happy. He thinks that the car gave him happiness. Vedanta says there was a certain unnecessary disturbance in his mind with car as the pretext. And when the car which he wanted came to him, that unnecessary disturbance became quiet. Car did not bring any happiness. This disturbance had obstructed. This disturbance in the mind had veiled the vision of or experience of his own inner happiness. Mind got disturbed, mind got quietened, he experiences the inner happiness. Like the musk deer actually is enjoying the fragrance coming from its own body. But it's wondering, is it coming from this plant or that tree, is from that fruit, or is it from that animal which ran just now? Is it from the distant hill or is it from the nearby pond? The musk deer is wondering without realizing happiness is from inside. Like that, Yajnavalkya says, Atmani pritihi mukhya, anyatra pritihi gauni. Gauni means secondary, superficial. Following that, he gives a clue on meditation. He says, to know this Atma, Shrotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyasitavyaha. So Nididhyasana is the word in the Brihadaranyaka for Dhyanam, which as per the Jnana Marga has to follow Shravana and Manana. Therefore, Shrotavyaha, Shravanam Kartavyam, Mantavyaha, Mananam Kartavyam, Nididhyasitavyaha, Atma Nididhyasitavyaha, Atmanam Prati, Atmanaha Vishaye, Dhyanam Kartavyam. That is the idea. Nididhyasana is a synonym for dhyana in that sense. And Adi Shankara gives just a simple phrase for what is dhyana here. This is, of course, a high plateau meditation. It is Nishchayena Dhyatavyam. Having gained certain clarity, thanks to your Shravana and Manana, then for heaven's sake, from that height, don't drop down, don't fall and injure yourself. Stay there. Stay there at the heart. Nishchayena Dhyatavyam or Atma Dhyatavyaha. And he adds a sentence. Yada ekatvam etani upagatani. When Shravana, where among 100 topics in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Upanishads, the Prasthanatraya, hundreds of topics are covered. Gita, Upanishads and Brahma Sutras, as you know, are the Prasthanatraya. On all the three of these Prasthanatraya, the great Acharyas, Shankara, Ramanuja and Madhva wrote commentaries. They explained, especially on Brahma Sutra, each of them wrote elaborate commentary. Shankara's commentary on Brahma Sutra is called Shariraka Bhashya. Ramanuja's commentary, Bhashya, on Brahma Sutra, 555 aphorisms by Veda Vyasa, is called Shri Bhashya. And Sriman Madhvacharya's commentary, though there are some philosophical differences, is also a magnificent work, and he calls it Purna Prajna Darshanam. Purna Prajna Darshanam. You behold Mahavishnu, who is that unlimited intelligence, that boundless intelligence. Please behold Mahavishnu, seems to be his appeal. Shankaracharya, in this commentary on Brihadaranyaka, says, when Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasana all fall in line, all get aligned. That means in Shravana, rather than getting carried away by some secondary or tertiary level topics, you come to know what is the primary teaching. Tatparyam kim? Sarvasam Upanishadam, Sarvasam Gitanam, Sarvesham Brahma Sutranam, Tatparyam kim? What are they mainly talking about? You determine in Shravana. In Manana, with some discussion, with some logical arguments, with some seeking clarifications with gurus and so on, you get clarity. Your doubts are gone. Shavana, this is what they say, but you have doubts about it. But in Manana, your doubts are cleared. You have to go about it patiently. And proper time management also is required. How long do you want to get, or do you want to stay busy with earning and spending and firefighting numerous mundane problems? Sit down, reflect. Don't worry about hours and hours. Then you begin with 30 minutes a day for your spiritual study and spiritual contemplation. Do wise time management and safeguard it. Then you will be free of doubts. Then nididhyasana. That is what Shankara calls nischayena dhyatavya. Otherwise, you may sit for dhyana, but I am Brahman, you are saying, or whatever. But part of your mind says, I don't know how. This is what the book says. And I have decided to sit for half an hour on meditation. And if I get up and leave the puja room, my own wife will say, why did you stop halfway? You said you will meditate for half an hour. Because that half an hour was relief for her. Where you would go, and some places the wives are very happy if the husband is busy with something. So the man who has not done Shravana and Manana, but who says, I'm going to meditate, he will not enjoy the meditation. Or some meditators without clarity about the teachings of the Upanishads, teachings of the Gita, they don't have clarity, they have not studied, they have in fact skipped many things. I don't want to be a philosopher, they say. Sir, madam, it's not about becoming philosophers. Nobody is asking you to become a philosopher. Nobody is asking you to give lectures like Swami Chidananda. Let him do. You, for heaven's sake, must get clarity. You are meditating and using some lines, some sentences. Are you clear what they actually mean? Or because it is giving you some comfort? If you don't have the clarity, which can come from Shavana and Manana, and yet you meditate, what happens is, to some people, their mind becomes quiet, but there is no transformation of the mind. Their outlook remains pretty much the same. After the meditation, when they come out, they are as egoistic, as self-centered, as afraid about tomorrow, as insecure as the day before. There is no qualitative change. Maybe for a little while they are very calm because they experience certain calmness in the meditation. But essentially they have not changed. To do nischayena dhyana, meditation with a certain steadiness, certain deep understanding of what you are meditating upon, ekatvam gatani, or etani ekatvam upagatani. In this way, we have Tandogya and Brahadaranyaka, Hatha and Mundaka, Bhagavad Gita also. Upanishad says, in every thought that rises in you, if you have developed the skill, in every thought you can shift your attention from the content of thought, the details of thought, to the witnessing consciousness. That's what Michael Singer appeals to his readers. Stay. In one of his very pretty expressions, he says, be seated in the chair of witnessing consciousness. Sit in the chair of witnessing consciousness. And all other Upanishads. Lastly, two examples. Shvetashvatara Upanishad. For that matter, that analogy comes in Kaivalya also. Talks about Uttara Arani and Adhara Arani. Adhara Arani is a cup-shaped wooden piece. Uttara Arani is a cylindrical upper piece. The cylindrical vertical piece is made to rotate using some thread, while being positioned in the cup-shaped Adhara Arani, and Uttara Arani and Adhara Arani thus come into friction. Quickly they rotate like churning, and some sparks of fire arise. With that sparks of fire in olden days, in Gurukulas, they used to light up the sacrificial fire. Today also some places in certain Homa, Havana, etc., we can get to see that. They show. Those interested are called, come, see the Arani process. So we have matchboxes, we have lighters, and we have everything. They do this, generating sparks of fire from the friction between Uttara Arani and Adhara Arani. Taking that illustration, Shvetashvatara Upanishad, first chapter, 14th mantra says, Swadeham Aranim Krutva Pranamam Cha Uttararanim Dhyana Nirmathana Deva Devam Pashet Nigudavat. That hidden divinity in you will become evident to you if you make Omkara the upper piece of wood, Uttararani, and this body consciousness, or the I am the body idea, as the lower piece of wood, Adhara Arani. Let there be a friction. Omkara is sure to win. But please initiate, please set in motion this process of spiritual learning, coming in friction with all kinds of worldly tendencies in you. Then Dhyana Nirmatana, that friction between noble thoughts of the scriptures and the thoughts of the world which continue to bind us. That coming into friction of these two is a dhyana. Dhyana Nirmatanade. And last but not the least, I make a departure from both Gita and Upanishads in one of the excellent Prakarana Granthas, namely Atma Bodha. In the 66th verse, it has 68 verses. So 1, 2 before the last, you can say. Atma Bodha says, giving the example of how from gold ore you extract pure gold. Shravanadibhiruddipta jnanagni paritapitah jiva sarvamalan muktah dhyotate swarnavat swayam. You and I, Jivatmas, can rise in consciousness, can rise in our mental purity, and then finally, dhyotate swarnavat, like gold, pure gold, which has been extracted from the gold ore, which is almost like mud or clay with some sparkle here and there. For that to happen, that was an analogy, in the actual process, Shavana Manana Nididhyasana have to be done. Dhyana comes in there. In the purification of gold, that gold ore has to be heated and probably some other processes, and then you extract pure gold. Here, this Jivatma that you and I are, all because of spiritual ignorance, avidya, asamyak darshana, have to go through sadhanas, have to go through satsangs, have to go through Shravana and Manana. Shravana and Manana light up a fire, the shloka says. Shravanadibhi uddipta jnanagni paritapitah. The fire of right seeing arising from Shravana and Manana burns us, and impurities go away. The pure eye shines forth. Swarnavat yotate swayam. In this way, broadly speaking, Vishaya Dhyana is for us to fall, keep away. Bhagavad Dhyana, contemplation on God. Then higher and higher you go. Understanding of, call it God, call it the great truth, call it the spiritual truth. Understanding rises, meditation takes place on higher and higher planes. It no more remains as concentration. It gets transformed into a certain gentle dissolution of our egoism, our kartrutva and bhoktrutva. I did that. I'm proud of it. Or some other time, I I messed up everything and I'm ashamed of it. So the shame some places, pride at some other places, regrets at some places, celebration at some other places, ups and downs like a roller coaster ride happens to your life generally, but with study, reflection, and meditation, even as things keep happening around, even as financial loss, death of near and dear ones, or failure of our own physical health, etc., take place, thanks to a certain high level of spiritual wisdom made possible by higher and higher meditation, we will be free even amidst unpleasant events around us. It's not just freedom and we don't do anything. I should add, we get empowered to make a difference in the surroundings. If we are all right, instantly, automatically, we will have the ability to stop many problems, to reduce many problems, to influence many people. That's bound to happen. It's not that you become free, let anything happen, let houses go up in flames. You say, I'm okay, I'm Brahman. That is not Vedanta wisdom. If today, with all worldliness, you are able to do something for world around you, people around you, with these heights reached through right meditation, you will be able to do 100 times more. Sometimes on a subtler plane, sometimes even on the gross plane. Sometimes physical action also is possible. Sometimes you talk to somebody in such a way, you influence some leader maybe in such a way, and through that leader, through this person, through that organization, through this group, who actually were influenced or touched by you somewhere, necessary corrective action takes place in the society around you in the context of problems that humanity faces. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.